Hello there my friends, hope you all are having a fantastic day right now. In this video, we shall be looking at the math module in Python and how it works. So let's get started. First, to import it, we will write import math like that, and that would import the module for us. So first, let us look at some of the most common methods in the math module. So first, let us look at the power function from the math module. So what the power function does is that it returns the value of the first argument raised to the power of the second argument. So let's say we want to print the value of 5 power 6. In such a case, we would be writing print math dot pow, which is the name of the function, and the arguments. So the first argument will be 5 and the second one will be 6. So this would print 5 power 6. So let's run this. 15625, which is 5 power 6. So the second function that we'll be looking at is the fabs function, and this function returns the absolute value of the number that we pass into it. So let's look at an example. So print, let's say we want the absolute value of minus 90. So we'll have to write math.fabs and pass the number. So this function returns the absolute value of minus 90, which is 90. So let's run this. So 90. So that's how the fabs function works. So the third method that we will be looking at is the ceil method, which is used to round the number that we pass into it to the next greater integer. So let's look at an example. Let's say we have a number 12.2. So when we use the ceil function on this number right here, then it converts this number into 13 and returns 13. So that's how the ceil function works. So let's write math.ceil and pass 12.2 as an argument. And let's run this. So 13. And that's how the ceil function works. The fourth function that we'll be looking at is the floor function, and floor does the opposite of ceil. That is, it rounds off a number into the next lesser integer. So if we change this from ceil to floor, you should see 12 getting printed to the screen like that. So that's how floor works. And the next function that I'll be showing you is the fmod function. And what fmod does is, it does the same operation as this operator right here, the percentage operator or the mod operator. It returns the reminder when the first number is divided by the second number. So let's check that out. Print math.fmod 5 comma 12. So when 5 is divided by 12, the remainder is 5. So that's what should be printed. So you see 5. And that's how fmod works. Next, let us look at some trigonometry functions. First, we look at the radians function. And what radians does is, it converts the angle in degrees to radians. So let's look at an example. So let's say we want to find the equivalent of 180 degrees. So we should write math dot radians and 180 like that. So essentially we should see pi getting printed to the screen. So there it is, 3.14, which is pi. And yep, that's how radians works. So next, let us look at the function called sine. And sine obviously returns the sine of the angle that we pass into the function. And note that sine takes the angles in terms of radians and not in degrees. So that's a point to note. So math dot sine, and let's pass 0, because we know sine 0 should be 0. And there it is, 0. And the math module has the common sine, the cos function, the tan function, and also the secant, cosecant, and cot functions. So you could use them, but I'm not going to show them in this video because that's quite easy. And the math module also happens to have the hyperbolic functions, and Let's look at the tan h function and see how it works. So tan h of 0 should be 0. So yep, that's how it works. And as usual, this applies to the sine and cos as well. And there are also the inverse functions. For example, the a tan function. Tan 0 is 0. So a tan of 0 should be 0. And again, there are the a sine, a cos, and all those functions. So all these functions are there in the math module for you to use. So that's it about the trigonometric functions in the math module. So now let's look at some constants which you can use from the math module. So the first constant that we will be looking at is the value of pi. All you have to do is to write math.pi, and this would print the value of pi. So this is the value of pi up to the 15th decimal place. And there is also this constant called the Euler's constant that is usually represented by e, and even in Python it can be accessed using e. So this is the value of the Euler's constant, that is 2.71828, and so on. And I'm sure there are a lot of other constants over here, but these are the most important ones I'm talking about. I just realized that I missed a few functions before, so I'll just quickly run through them. So the first one is the math.log function, and this just returns the natural logarithmic value. So let's say 2 and see what gets printed. 0.693147. So that is the natural logarithmic value of 2. And there is also this math.log10 function, and this function returns the common log of the number that is passed into it. So 0.3010. So that is the value of log 2 to the base 10. There is also this math.exp function which returns the value of e raised to the number that we pass into it. So e is again the Euler's constant, and this function just returns the value of e power 2. So let's check it out. 7.38. And you could also obtain this number by math.power function, and let's check if the two values match. So as you can see, they are almost the same. And I guess that's it. These are the most important functions which people generally use from the math module. And that's it. And I guess this will be the last video in this Python for Beginners series. And I don't want to drag this series too much, because if you know this much of Python, that is, if you have come to this video, then that means that you basically know how Python works. And that is enough for beginners, I guess. And I hope this series brought value to your time. And yep, that's it. If you have any doubts or feedback, then feel free to put them in the comment section down below. And there is an entire GitHub repository on my GitHub dedicated to this, and make sure that you check that out too. So that's it. Bye for now, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.